What is up, my friends? Good evening. You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda. I hope you're all having a good day. Thank you to those that joined me earlier on as well for the 4 p.m. stream. Appreciated it. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. But the news has, I guess it's gone a little bit further since we last spoke. So over the course of the next 90 minutes or so, we'll get stuck into it, try and figure out where we're at, when we can expect the announcement on Ruben Amorim, because it is looking like we're very, very close at this point. We have a little bit of transfer gossip to go through as well. Links to a player from Portugal, not actually from Sporting. Jurgen Klopp has been speaking about his future. We'll go through that as well. But of course, first and foremost, a big thank you to you all for joining me. I hope you're all having a good day and enjoying the footy. If you're watching it in the background, appreciate it. Do keep me up to date with what's going on in the scores. I had seen that Atleti had gone 1-0 up against Borussia Dortmund and it was 0-0 in the PSG Barca game. I'm so glad that Craig is a red. I was actually weirdly humming that song about Jurgen a while ago on the way home in the car. And now I was singing, just before I started the stream, I was singing the Diogo song. Mike Manser, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Mike. Appreciate you, bro. Welcome in. Great to have you with us. So, I have no doubt that my friend NFC Edits is watching, and I did get your email, mate, and I did respond to you as I promised I would, and thank you for taking the time to do your drawing, my man. Appreciate you giving up some of your time to try and draw a picture of little old me. Appreciate your support of the channel as well, dude. So, if you are watching, really appreciate you. Mark, thank you for gifting an Anfield Agenda membership as well. Appreciate Mark, all the work he does leading the mods as well. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow we're going to be live from 7 o'clock for the watch-along of the Atalanta game. Normal match day here on Anfield Agenda. We'll take you right through the game, match reaction, player ratings, social media reaction videos and everything else. Hope the doctor appointment went well. It was great. Thank you, Ryan. It was a psychologist appointment. And I hadn't seen him in about 7 weeks for various reasons. So it was great to go down, talk about the whole Boston situation and loads of other stuff. And just get stuff off my chest. So yeah, I feel really good. Thank you, mate. Hey, Craig, how are you? Hope the family are well. Family are good. Thank you, James. Yeah, appreciate you asking. Good looking out, mate, as always. And I hope all of your families are in good form as well. So look, I want to start off tonight with just a word from Jurgen Klopp, if I may. So Klopp has been speaking about his future beyond, obviously, his job as Liverpool manager. And via LFC Transfer Room, this is what he said. At the moment, I don't plan a further career as a manager. Now, you know, I guess that could be interpreted in a couple of different ways. It could be Jurgen saying he has no plans at the minute. Or it could be him saying, I don't plan to manage again. But either way, it does look as if, at the very least here, we can see that Jurgen will be taking that sabbatical that he spoke about. Jen, thank you very much as well, Jen. Just seeing Jen gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Thank you, Jen. You're really kind, mate. Appreciate that. A win against Atalanta and back on top of the Prem by Monday. Oh, that would be delicious, Dragos, my friend. That would be amazing. Definitely feel confident going into tomorrow's game. You always feel confident at home in the European tie. Atalanta are no mugs. We know that. We've played against them a few times before. And I'm expecting it to be an entertaining couple of games. But yeah, it'd be nice to get a lead to take to Italy with us tomorrow. And certainly, I don't want Jurgen to go weak with his team selection. I'm kind of confused as to why some people were hoping we change and rotate quite a lot. For me, you got to put your best foot forward, right? We've only got 2 trophies left this season. Premier League and the Europa League. They're the only 2 left that we can win. So let's try and do both. Oh, it's now gone 2-0 to Atleti. Thank you, Mark, for that update. Atleti now 2-0 up. The first goal, by the way, that Atleti scored was gifted to them by some absolutely crazy playing out from the back from Dortmund. That bit them in the backside. And Rodrigo de Paul was there to steer the ball home. Robert Cosby, how are you, dude? Appreciate your super chat. Appreciate your support. Let me just get that out of the way before I read your comment. Now, I haven't read the comment yet, so I hope it doesn't come back to bite me in the backside. But no, it's looking good. Craig, really appreciative of the work you put in the Anfield Agenda. It's my favourite content provider. If you could offer Amorim any advice for the new boss. That's a lovely question, Robert. Thank you. If I could offer Ruben Amorim any advice, know that the fans are going to be behind you. So if you want to call out the owners over something, know the fans are going to be behind you. And I would say welcome. You know, if I could give him any word of advice, it's be yourself. Own it. Enjoy it. Take in the experience. embrace the Liverpool fans and they will absolutely embrace you back. That's probably what I would say to him. But thank you for such a lovely post, mate, and a lovely twist to the question as well. Appreciate it. Craig, I think we win 3-1 tomorrow, said I'm Connor. Would I take a 3-1? I probably would, yeah. I'd rather a 3-0, but yeah, I'd take a 3-1. Just going to leave this up as a little reminder for a few minutes, because we are just trying to make sure that people are aware that the tickets 1 hour on sale. And as I mentioned a couple of times, the Belfast show, that's selling quite quickly, which we're delighted to hear about. Dublin show, we've got more availability. So again, if you want to come and see us, the tickets are on sale. And Ticketmaster right now, both events, May 31st and June 2nd, Belfast and Dublin. I am absolutely pumped for these two shows, because I feel like we're going to have an end of season party. Are you doing a tour in Cardiff? Absolutely. August the 2nd for Cardiff. Hasn't got on sale yet. We're going to put it on sale next month, but August the 2nd. Craig, if you could pick anyone to be Amorum's number 2, who would you pick? See, it's a difficult one, because first and foremost, you want Amorim to be comfortable and to have trust in the number 2. So throwing in a randomer, like let's say I said Steven Gerrard as an example, they might not necessarily have that connection. So my honest wish would be for Ruben Amorim to bring in his own team with him and people that he trusts, people he feels comfortable with. Obviously, I would have had no problems if Pep Lijnders decided he wanted to stay around and work under Amorim, but you know, Lijnders wants to go and become his own man, his own manager. So I just, as long as he gets a number 2 that he's happy with and feels comfortable working with, I'm good. Uzi Uncle Drew, thank you, mate, for gifting 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. Really kind of you, mate, and it will definitely mean a lot to a lot of people in the chat, so thank you, dude. Craig, if you could ask the players one question, what would you say? If I could ask one question. Well, okay, Jen, you know what? I'm going to be selfish. I would ask them, do they know about the channel? I know it's a selfish answer, but I would love to know, because sometimes you do wonder, you know, who might be looking on, who may be keeping tabs on you, who might know you exist. For instance, as an example, when I first met Jamie Webster, he recognised me from videos and he said, oh, I've seen some of your videos, and that made me feel like amazing, obviously, because I didn't expect Jamie to know who we were. So yeah, probably would ask if they ever watched any of the channels and have I ever insulted them, probably. But thank you, Jen, for the super chat. Right, I'm going to get back into more news though, because the Ruben Amorim situation has moved along a little bit since we spoke earlier on. So there was lots of reports coming out of Portugal suggesting that Liverpool were at various levels of close to this deal. But a report that came out earlier on that has been, I guess, liked by Florian Plettenberg as well, said new, and this is up on LFC Transfer Room's Twitter page. If you don't give LFC Transfer Room a follow, you should do. They're a great account. They say Ruben Amorim has told Sporting's president Frederico Varandas that Liverpool's interest is there and that they should be looking for potential replacements. Meaning, he has told those at Sporting that he wants to leave and become the next Liverpool manager. And again, it looks like this is inching towards coming to a conclusion. There are various things we'll go through today. Pedro Sepulveda has been speaking as well, and he said financial terms are almost agreed between Liverpool and Ruben Amorim. Credit in Anfield sector for that one if you guys want to check that out as well. So Pedro Sepulveda has said that financial terms are almost agreed between Liverpool and Ruben Amorim. It just looks like he's going to be the next manager at this point, folks. So I'm delighted about it. I'm delighted about it because I think he's a great fit, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with this group of Liverpool players, and of course what ones that he may look to bring in. Because earlier on we spoke about a story coming out of Portugal. Let me just get the notes here. That says, here we go. Again, from Jornal Noticias, or Noticias. They say Ruben Amorim, who's been approached by Liverpool and is discussing details over his contract, wants to bring 3 Sporting players with him: Gonçalo Inácio, Ousmane Diomande, and Morten Hjulmand. I don't know who Morten Hjulmand is, but I did do a quick research earlier on, and he's a defensive midfielder, 24 years of age. I think he's a Danish international. So it looks like there are 3 players that he would like to bring with him. 2 of them I know have buyout clauses. I'm not sure about Morten Hjulmand, but I do know Ousmane Diomande and Gonzalo Inacio have buyout clauses of, I think, 60 million euro for Inacio and 70 million euro for Diomande. So, yeah, let's wait and see if there's truth to that. You know, when Jurgen came in, we know he didn't go back to Dortmund and raid them for anybody, but maybe Ruben Amorim just feels like he'd like to bring some people with him to Liverpool, and, you know, let's wait and see how that pans out. Jen gifted 5 Anfield Agenda memberships. I love it. It's so kind when you guys do that, because it obviously helps us out, helps other people in the chat out, and it just helps foster that sense of community that we love on the channel, Jen. So much love. Thank you for that. Craig, have you seen the leaks that Salah and Szoboszlai and Robbo have been dropped for tomorrow? Feels like Robbo being dropped is a bit harsh. No, I haven't seen the leaks because I'm guessing you've probably seen them on social media, and I'm not on social media, but I'm with you. I feel of the 3 you've named there, Robbo feels particularly harsh. I've no question about the idea of Salah being dropped or Szoboszlai being dropped. I think that's entirely reasonable based off what we've seen. In my own predicted 11, I actually kept Salah in it, but I had benched Darwin. So, good. Look, I know people sometimes read too much into these things when we say X player should be benched, but you do have to pay a price. You know, if you're not performing and you're not converting the opportunities that come your way, or in Szoboszlai's case, not performing to the levels that we know he's capable of, there can be various reasons why. It could be fasting, of course, in Mohamed Salah's case. It could be fatigue in Salah's case. It could be rhythm in Szoboszlai's case. It doesn't necessarily mean that anybody wants to hate them and get rid of them. But, you know, you can't just keep underperforming and being rewarded for it. I think Salah has lots of credit in the bank. So that's why I felt that Darwin's probably a better one to rest in my own estimation. But, yeah, I think it's fair. You know, we are all wanting the success for the team, and you know, if Klopp feels that maybe people aren't performing as good as they can, then, you know, maybe he wants to make that change, and I don't disagree. Dipanjan Bosu, hey Craig, can't we just replace Salah with Szoboszlai? I don't know if Szoboszlai has the pace to play on the right side of attack for us. Same with Harvey Elliott when he plays there. Mixed with Harvey Elliott. Sometimes I think he looks good there. Sometimes I think not so much. So yeah, I just don't know if Szoboszlai has the pace. He can play on the right though in an attacking trio, no doubt about that. But for me, no, I don't think Szoboszlai's pulling his weight lately, to be honest with you. I'd have far more understanding of him being benched than even Salah or Darwin. I just don't feel like he's at the levels. But I don't think it's a lack of effort or anything like that. I just think maybe he's just not in a good moment, rhythm, whatever you want to call it. Uzi Uncle Drew gifting 5 memberships as well, mate. You're absolutely superstar. Thank you so much. I thought Robbo played well on Sunday, said Ben Brady. Yeah, I think Robbo's done okay as well. I'm still drooling over his cross for Cody Gakpo from the Sheffield United game. That was a beautiful cross and a great finish by Cody. Look, I think shaking it up tomorrow, whether you look at it as rotation, whether you look at it as players being dropped, it's okay. That's why we have squads. We can't go out and play the same 11 every week, as much as many of us would like to see the 11 we think is the strongest every week. You do have to manage the situations, manage minutes, manage fatigue, and the games are coming 3 and 7 days. So yeah, I can understand some changes. Szoboszlai is one of the fastest players in the league. Well, he doesn't show it. So I'm absolutely open to the fact that my judgment of his speed is incorrect, but I'm not seeing, like, yeah, I don't remember seeing him and thinking, oh my God, the speed of him. Whereas, you know, you'd see Salah or Mane back in the day, or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't initially think of him as being fast. Thoughts on calzone? Not my cup of tea. I'd rather have the pizza as normal. we have to keep faith Salah and Diaz looking like he's going to. Sorry, we have to keep Salah with Diaz looking like he's going to. I don't... I feel like these Salah situations are always loaded conversations because somebody always takes offence by it. But I would disagree. I think Salah is past his peak. I think he's still very effective and a very good footballer. But I just think if an offer of 100 million came in for a 32-year-old with 1 year on his contract, I'd take it. I would. Because the Premier League it's a fast-paced league, and we've been without Salah for 3 months this season for various reasons, be it the AFCON or injury. And we've managed reasonably well in that time. And I just think, having looked at Bobby Firmino and Sadio Mane and how they left Liverpool, Bobby for free, Sadio for about 30 million euro. If there's 100 million quid on the table and the new manager would like that to refresh, and let's not forget here as well, Paul, there's most likely going to be a change of system. So it's not like if Jurgen was still saying, we'd be thinking, okay, we're going to play 4-3-3 moving forward, we're going to need wingers. In the system that Amorim chooses, there's no natural fit really for Salah or Diaz in that system. So if you take all these factors under consideration, I just think it's the correct business decision if the offer comes in. With Diaz, I think that I just feel, it feels from the outside, and obviously I don't know the inside of this situation, but from the outside it feels like Diaz just doesn't want to be here. Between his dad talking about moves to Spain and stuff, and then these links coming to PSG, I don't know, maybe he hasn't been able to fully settle in Liverpool, or, I don't know the personal side of it, but it just feels like, as I said, from the outside, he wouldn't be against leaving, is kind of my reading of the situation, but I don't know him. So for him, he's only 27, I think, so certainly no age reason to look to cash in on him. But look, £75 million, if PSG threw down £75 million on the table and he wanted to take it, I mean, that's a lot of money again. So these are decisions that will come down to what the player wants, what the club wants, and, us fans will have our opinions on it, but we don't really have any influence over the situation. Hulman has an 80 million release clause. Don't see the need for a DM. We have Endo and Bajcetic. Well, I would imagine we'd probably try to negotiate there, Pranav, because, 80 million seems a lot. But I do agree with you as well that we have Endo and Bajcetic, and I understand two centre-backs, because we need centre-backs. We need at least two more centre-backs if we're going to play three at the back. So let's wait and see. I mean, this is just speculation at the minute amongst the players that Ruben Amorim has been linked to wanting to bring with him. It's all just speculation. At the minute, I'm just trying to focus on the Amorim situation, and that looks like we will have a resolution to that pretty soon. Szoboszlai was great against United, created most of the chances, the attackers failed to score. I would disagree. First half, I thought he was great, as was most of the team. Second half, don't feel the same way. And look, you're right about the attackers missing all the chances, mate. Nobody can disagree with you on that one. But look, I don't want this to be a negative conversation, I don't want us to be looking backwards and thinking about stuff that we didn't do. It's just time to find solutions looking forward. We can't change what happened against United. We can't change what happened in games where we've been frustrated. But what we can change is what happens against Atalanta, what happens against Crystal Palace at the weekend, what happens against Atalanta next week. That's where we should be focusing our attention, in my opinion. Go all out for Musiala if it's true he's refusing a new contract at Bayern. Oh, mate, I would. Yeah, I'd be there. I'd be right with you in that one. Or Wirtz, if there was any chance of getting him at a Leverkusen. If Diaz and Salah go, what's your pick for replacement? Again, it's difficult, Andrew, because do we need replacement wingers or do we need replacement number 10s or a wing back, as an example? The names that have been mentioned as to being possible replacements are Pedro Neto, Florian Wirtz and Nico Williams from Athletic Bilbao. Nico Williams, I think his release clause is about £55 million. Florian Wirtz, no idea if he has a release clause or not. And who was the other one I mentioned? Pedro Neto. I've always been a fan of Pedro Neto, but you can't just ignore the injuries that he's picked up. You know, for such a young player to have had as many injuries as he has, you got to ask yourself, has he been really unlucky like Joe Gomez, or has he got something in his makeup that maybe means he's going to pick up some knocks going forward? Because, you know, we need rugged players in the Premier League. And if you look at some of the players moving on now, Matip has had his fair share of ups and downs with regards to injuries. Thiago, as much as I love Thiago the player, this last year has been nothing but a waste of money for everybody except Thiago. And I read something yesterday. I don't know if this is right or not, and I'm happy to be corrected. I'm certainly not stating it as a fact, but somebody said he's over in Saudi doing his rehab, which, if that's the case, it just feels even stranger. Do you think Klopp is regretting leaving? I can only take him at his own word and say no. You know, he said that it wasn't a reactionary thing when he decided that he needed the break. So no, I don't know if he's regretting. I mean, I think it's going to be a difficult time, and I think he's going to feel a lot of emotions over the next couple of months. But, you know, it is his decision ultimately, and he'll always be looked at as a hero to all of us. You know, no matter what happens. It would have been lovely to see the last 2 years out of his contract and see him at the club, but you know, it wasn't to be. I looked at the video of how Amorim plays. The players not a striker. The players are not a striker or a number 10. All the forward players change constantly and very fluidly to confuse the opposition. The centre forward in that system, though, is used as a kind of battering ram, in all honesty. But the others, as you've mentioned, the number 10s in particular, yes, it is kind of fluid, but they also have a high press. So there's some similarities to us in that regard with the high press from the forwards and the midfielders, but then there's more of a stylistic Guardiola type approach to the way he sets up out of possession. Is this a new shirt? No, I've had this hoodie for ages. I just don't wear it very often. Right, some more of the bits and pieces in the news. Where's this one? So, lots of questions over the last week or two about the financial situation in the Premier League and what happens for breaches moving forward. You know, we'd heard about this luxury tax as an example. Well, Sky Sports had an article up that said, clubs who break the Premier League financial rules can still expect to be given significant points deductions in the future. Sky Sports News has been told, despite a proposal to replace points penalties with a fine, Premier League clubs are attending their latest shareholders meeting on Wednesday, April the 10th, where the future of squad cost controls is the primary issue on the agenda. So points deductions are still on the table. But I tell you what though, it's been a bit of a mess this year, hasn't it? Look at the Everton situation. 10 points, then 6 points, then wasn't it 4 points, and now another 2 points. And if I believe correctly, there's another situation for Everton coming down the line next year. So I was watching back pages with Sky the other night, and I think I want to say it was Jason Burt of The Telegraph, but apologies if I'm wrong on that. But they were saying that there could be this crazy situation where we don't know who's actually relegated at the end of the year because of appeals and points deductions, and it's just weird. Like, it's weird. It feels like even though the Premier League have their own powers, those powers are still able to be appealed, of course, and dragged out, and it just feels grubby. Football in England just feels a bit grubby at the minute, and I don't like it. I don't like the uncertainty of it all. Benjamin, thank you for your super chat, my friend. The reason is, I look at body language. He talks very much like he's trying to convince himself of the decision. On Diaz, I never felt that close to him. I would be happy if he left. So, I've mentioned this myself about Salah. I've never really been able to fall in love with Salah in the same way as some others have. You know, and I've thought about this long and hard, and I think it's just the fact he's too perfect. And maybe for whatever reason you have said you haven't been able to take to Diaz. Now, of course, idolise Mo and think he's great, but I just don't have that same blind affinity to him that some others have. So maybe you're similar with Diaz. And also, maybe it's an age thing, but players always come and go, you know. We've seen Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard, Ian Rush, Kenny Dalglish, all come and go. Luis Suarez, Felipe Coutinho. You know, football is a cyclical thing, and players are employees. They come, they go. We worship them for a while. They leave. They get on with their lives, and we get on with supporting Liverpool Football Club. It's just the cycle of being a football fan, I guess. Do I like Mane, or did I like Mane? Yes. Again, like Salah, never really had the same hero worship of him. Of the front three, it was always Firmino for me. You know, he was the one that I would have idolised. Yeah, I liked him, of course. Mane was a great player and a wonderful human being, like Mohamed Salah, just a very good, selfless human being who was nothing but love in his heart. Like, but how do I describe this without sounding like an asshole? Sometimes with certain footballers, you think it's almost about the brand. So brand Mane, brand Salah. And of course, they're right to look out for their own interests, but I don't know. We won't always like and worship everyone at a football club, but you know, it's about not having an agenda against them and trying to make sure that if you are being critical of them, it's for valid reasons. Do you think McAllister is going to be our new Wijnaldum? So I made a bit of a strange statement when he came in, and I said I think Alexis McAllister will become Liverpool's Luka Modric, and I think I still stand over that because I can see him being a Luka Modric type of player. And Dominic Szoboszlai could be our Kevin De Bruyne or Steven Gerrard, but you know, he needs to be a bit more consistent. He has every tool to be a superstar, but I keep forgetting how young Szoboszlai is as well. You know, he doesn't look like a 22-year-old or 23-year-old. He looks a lot more mature than that, but you know, he's still very, very young. Same here. I think it's his haircut for Salah for Casper's photography. I think it's because he's not flawed. I've said this before. I'm usually drawn to flawed human beings. So with Bobby Firmino, there was the drink driving thing. There was, you know, he wasn't perfect, and that drew me to him. Salah is just a perfect specimen. You know, physically perfect, a loving, kind man, a great footballer, a wonderful humanitarian. Too perfect for me. So yeah, I'm drawn to the Ronnie O'Sullivans, the Diego Maradonas of this world. Do you think the Sporting striker, not going to try and say his name, do you think we'll get him? So his agent was speaking, and he was talking about why Victor, because I can't pronounce his surname either, went to Sporting Lisbon, and this is what he had to say. It'll be more difficult for Victor to say if Ruben Amorim leaves Sporting, because Victor came precisely because of Ruben. The day we met, I said to Ruben, here's my boy, he came to Sporting because of you. He went on to say, there were 8 clubs very interested in Victor last summer. They all would have paid Coventry more than Sporting. They all would have paid Victor more, and they would have paid a higher commission to the agent. But I brought him to Sporting because of Ruben Amorim, because I know his work and his work with the players. I chose Ruben because he is a coach on another level. So I'm sure the player would have no problem following Amorim to Liverpool, but I just don't know what Liverpool's situation is going to be with bringing in another forward. So yeah, I don't know the answer on that one. I'm not against us bringing in another forward though, particularly if we end up losing wide players. Yeah, I'm not against it. Craig loves a rebel Maverick type player. Definitely do. Definitely. You know, I want somebody that I know, you know, is a little bit batshit crazy in a good way. You know, with a bit of character, a bit of flair. Yeah, I like the highs and lows of it all, because I see myself in these type of people as well. How would you rate Klavan's time at Liverpool? Oh God. Interesting. Decent. Yeah, I'm not going to say he's going to go down as a hero, but interesting. Yeah, I think we're all quite fond of Raggy, but yeah, I'm not going to say he's a cult hero is probably the phrase. Darwin's your man, so oh god yeah. Oh god yeah. Love it, Darwin. See what people don't get about me is though, I'll call Darwin a load of stuff if he misses chances, but I still love him because it's been able for him to provoke that emotion in me that gives me that connection to him. So people go in on me. Like I went in on Darwin, called him Jack Sparrow after the United game of the league when we drew. And I understood why people were going in on me for it and criticising me for criticising Darwin. I totally understood that. But people that know me, for me, know that doesn't mean that I don't love the dude. I absolutely love Darwin Núñez. I love Captain Chaos. So yeah, it's just, we're all different people really, aren't we? Right, so what was this bit of news? So Klopp was speaking about the injury situation, and as I'm sure you guys have seen, Trent, Alisson, Bajcetic and Diogo have all been back training. Klopp said, we'll have to see if Trent, Alisson and Diogo will play. We didn't rush it with the boys. Diogo and Trent worked as a group for 2 or 3 weeks and could do proper training. They looked very good yesterday. Stefan is different a little bit because he was out for much longer. It might make sense to give him a game for the under-21s. Alisson is on his way back as well. They're now back in training and we'll see how we involve them. That's good signs. I didn't expect the idea of these guys maybe being in contention for tomorrow or even the weekend. So happy with that one. Yeah, Tanya Somerville has been linked. There's been some talk that Richard Hughes is a fan of Leeds Somerville. And again, I can understand that he's a good young player. But I just we'll have to wait and see. What about Salah? Seen so much hate from here. So I would say no, you haven't. And people, what I find, take a constructive bit of criticism, whether it be from me or somebody in the chat, as hate. It's not hate. Hate is get out of my club, sell him, I don't want him here. That's hate. Saying you shouldn't be missing those chances and giving him a 5 or 6 out of 10 for a performance is constructive criticism. But in the same breath, we can turn around and go, but we love Mo. So for me, Salah is an icon of this football club. Salah's name in Liverpool will be inextricably linked forever because of what he delivered here, because of the sheer volume of goals, assists, big moments and consistency that he was able to show across his time at the club. And there isn't any praise for Salah and his time here that isn't fair. He deserves every single bit of love and admiration that he gets. But you can also say he's not the same player anymore because he isn't. He just isn't. I don't understand how people can't differentiate between the two. Nobody lasts forever. Nobody beats Father Time. And sometimes the most difficult decisions are very divisive. And there's no right or wrong answer to it. You can look at Mohamed Salah's situation and feel like he deserves more time at the club. And I can think and say to you, that is a very valid point. I can see where you're coming from. Much like I can look at it from a business perspective and see why Michael Edwards or FSG might think now is the right time to cash in. I can see that side of it as well. The only side of it I can't see is anybody who thinks he deserves a pay rise. I don't see that. I'd have no issue if he got offered a 2-year deal on the same money. But I can't say that since he signed that new deal, he's gotten better. I don't think that's the case. Do you think we get the Ruben deal done? Also, talk of Ruben going to Chelsea or Man United. Do you agree? So he won't be going to Chelsea. You don't need to worry about that. Nobody with half a brain cell would be going to United either at this moment in time. Ruben will be Liverpool's next manager. It's gonna, it's moving closer and closer and closer, and it should be pretty evident at this point. So don't worry about that side of it. Chelsea dropped out a while back, as did Barcelona, for different reasons. Just ask yourself this. If you were a manager, taking aside your allegiance to Liverpool, and those 3 jobs were presented to you as opportunities, you're taking Liverpool job. You just are. Like, whatever way you look at it. Training facilities have been redone. The stadium's been improved. The squad's been refreshed. The academy products are delivering. Great supporters. You know, you're coming in to a successful team that doesn't need to be fully rebuilt and hasn't lost the support from the fans, or, you know, it's just a great opportunity for anybody. So, you know, don't undersell the club in your own mind. Liverpool is a huge, huge attraction. Apart from Melissa Reddy, do you believe of the journalists from Sky Sports when they talk about Liverpool transfers? No, I don't really believe on Sky Sports for transfers. I think Kaveh Solokol is a fantastic journalist, and I like listening to him talk, and I'm very respectful of how he was supportive of Liverpool fans from the whole nonsense in Paris and the way the fans were treated, and I think he's a good journalist. I think there are other good journalists working at Sky, but I think the transfer stuff, I think they cover every base. As an example, we'd seen stuff the other day, in one day on Sky, that said Sky sources in Germany suggest that Liverpool have offered Ruben Amorim a 3-year deal. And then the very same day, Sky put out another piece that said Sky sources have been told by senior figures at Liverpool that talk of an offer to Ruben Amorim is premature and that the search is still underway. So it's hard to take that seriously when the same outlet is giving you multiple options. And more so, I don't like Sky Bet. I don't like that. I know they're technically separate companies, and I know people are going to say, Craig, it was sold off, it's not part of Sky, but it is. You know, when you've got Jamie Carragher and Mika Richards and all these other Sky pundits and presenters and Sky branding as part of a betting company, and that betting company, if they wanted, you know, let's say here Sky wanted to manipulate a market. Now, I'm not accusing Sky of manipulating a market, but let's say for an instance they wanted to. They could go on tomorrow and go, Sky sources have been told that, I don't know, Florian Wirtz is likely to join Liverpool. So what happens then? People go, let's have a look at the betting odds. And then they go and have a look at the betting odds. And then they go, well, they reckon he's coming, so let's pile some money in the betting odds. See how easy it is for these connections to be made. So I don't look at Sky for transfer stuff. No, I look at them for tactical stuff like Monday Night Football and the punditry along those lines. So Melissa Reddy's a great journalist, but I don't look at Sky for my transfer stuff. Who's your least favourite Premier League player? It's probably Bruno. Bruno's got to be right up there. Bruno or... Actually, do you know what? Do you know, the one I don't like the most isn't even a player. It's Mikel Arteta. I can't stand him. Can't stand him. Can't listen to his nasally voice. Can't look at him without thinking of big Everton heading him. Don't like him. Just don't like him one bit. So probably have to go with a coach. Ooh, PSG 2, Barcelona 1. That's an interesting turnaround there. Who's a better manager, Arteta or Alonso? Said Joshua. Thank you, Joshua, for that. And thank you for your membership as well, mate. Who's a better manager? I'd rather have Alonso at my club. But, you know, I can't look at the job Arteta's done and not give him credit for that job. You know, he's made Arsenal contenders, real contenders. Taken them deep in the Champions League, delivered them an FA Cup, I think it was. You got to give the man credit for his work. You know, he's definitely doing a good job there, and he's adding a belief to that Arsenal team. But I just don't like him, so I'd go for Alonso. Do you think the protests about ticket prices will affect the team? No. But I've been looking into this, and it seems like Spirit of Shankly are in the minority on this one. it seems like a lot of people feel this is the wrong battle to pick. And look, there are many things to be pushing back on and to look out for fans on, but this feels wrong to me. It doesn't feel like the right fight to pick. And I know people will say it's quarter-final, Craig. That's exactly the time they should be making a protest. You want your protest to have the biggest impact on the biggest occasion, but I don't think they're going to have the majority of fans on side with them on this one. So for me, I just feel like it's just not the time for it. Not that big of an issue. 2%. I don't like to criticize anybody who feels the pinch financially. I don't like to be that guy because everyone's financial situation differs. But I'm going to make one statement that's going to sound really harsh, but I think it's true. If a 2% increase in the cost of a season ticket is really giving you genuine hardship, then stop going to football, because you need to spend your money in more impactful ways in your life. And I don't mean that in a cold-hearted, stop going. I mean, if it's genuinely causing you financial trouble, it's probably a luxury you can't afford then. Or, it's tough to hear that, but if it's how I feel. If for instance, look at it this way. I love watching football. I love watching it on Sky and BT, and I pay my TV subscriptions. But if my family was being financially impacted by me being able to watch it and pay for it, if that was having a negative impact in other areas of my life, it would be the first thing I'd cut, because my family will come first. And I know the argument is that everybody should be able to watch football and not be priced out of football, but I feel like 2% just doesn't feel right to me to complain about 2%. Their argument isn't the 2%, it's that tickets are already too high. They're not. Sorry, they're not. Tickets aren't already too high. I looked at this the other day. The most expensive ticket to watch Liverpool is about £61, I think. And I looked at Arsenal's ticket prices, and it's about 138 quid. Now, I'm not talking about any hospitality tickets or anything. I mean, just general sale, main stand, most expensive ticket. So look, yeah, you might say football's too expensive, but you've no divine right to be able to afford anything. It's a business like anything else. If I don't want to pay concert ticket prices, I won't go and see somebody if I don't like the price of the tickets. I don't feel like I have a divine right to go and see somebody who's Irish because I was born in Ireland. Football's evolved for good, bad, or indifferent. It is a business now. It's not what it was in the 70s and 80s. Football is huge, and it's an entertainment business, and it drives a lot of money. And we get sucked down this rabbit hole of saying, yes, the real fans are priced out of the game and all, but my argument on this is, who's scalping the tickets? Like, genuinely, who's scalping the tickets? Season ticket holders most of the time. And that should be where the ire is right now, in my opinion. Those people who are fleecing other football fans. It just feels like sometimes there's two different sets of Liverpool fans. There's those that were born and bred in Liverpool who feel like they have a better vested interest in the club because of where they're born and bred, and that they should have a divine right to attend games, and that the rest of us don't. And I don't think that's bringing fans together, and I don't think that represents the best interests of all fans. I think it's misguided sometimes. As an SOS member, I wasn't even contacted that there was a protest happening, said Adzer. I don't know what to say to you on that one, mate, because I'm not part of Spirit of Shankly or Spy on Cop, and I don't know how they normally operate with these things. I don't know, is there a ballot or, are members surveyed? I don't know, mate, because as I said, I'm not a member. 37k season ticket holders who sell tickets for £350. You see, that never really gets addressed enough for my liking, because we always hear about Johnny Foreigner coming with their cameras, not paying attention to the game and driving the prices up, but we never talk about who sells them then tickets. There's a blind eye turn to that. For an example, something that's really annoyed me as an overseas or a non-local Liverpool fan was this argument that I make money off the back of the club. People go, you just make money off the back of the club, you're dirt, you're da-da-da. And then I go and I go, what about the people who are selling t-shirts with the images of players on them? Or the people who are selling scarves and hats outside who are profiting from the club? Why is that okay? But me not selling anything and making free content isn't okay. There seems to be a lot of hypocrisy that goes on around these things, and I don't feel like anybody ever wants to have a real sincere conversation about it. It's always a vested interest somewhere that's looking out for a particular section or subsection of supporters. And again, it just drives us to argue with each other, and it drives us to point fingers, and it doesn't bring us together. And that's what this channel's always tried to be about, is bringing people together. So, these are all emotive subjects with people with varied opinions, and everybody's opinion, has weight behind it. In today's football system, Liverpool would fall short without enormous international appeal. Yeah, but look, there is also a valid point where people say television revenues have gone up, media revenues have gone up, and you'll often hear a valid argument about the Bayern Munich situation and how Bayern Munich don't feel the need to fleece their fans for an extra couple of million quid because they feel like they generate enough money. And there's something to that as well, let's be honest. There's definitely a lot of hypocrisy, agreed, can't we just get along? And that is my point, mate. That is my point. We've more that brings us together around Liverpool Football Club than divides us. And that is my point exactly. Let's celebrate. Do you know Boss Nights gigs? I've been lucky enough to go to a couple of them, and my God, I've never felt more attached, more in love, more united with a football club and a group of people than when I've been at one of those events. They are absolutely fantastic, and I would urge anybody who ever gets a chance to attend one to go. It's incredible. And that's the power of football. That's the power of unifying people. That's the power of everybody going in the same direction. And it truly is a magic thing. Like an Anfield Agenda live show in Dublin or Belfast. Anyway, so I did say there was a link to a Portuguese player that hasn't been linked from Lisbon, but is a different one. So according to claims in the Portuguese outlet Ojogo, Liverpool intend to secure the signing of Porto midfielder Alan Varela. It's claimed that Liverpool representatives are at Porto's recent fixture against Vitória with Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea and Bayern also said to be interested. We've been linked to Varela for a while. This isn't the first transfer window I remember us being linked to him. But I've no idea if there's truth to it or if it's just Liverpool's name being used to try and drum up interest. I'm going tomorrow night to the match and Sunday afternoon. Class. Enjoy, Rachel. Should be a great night tomorrow night. I love Anfield under the lights, mate, and I hope you enjoy both of them, and I hope we get two good results as well. I missed your super chat. No problem, John. Sorry, mate. Let me scroll back up, bro, and get to that for you. So, John said, it's important to realise that the clubs have also been affected by the cost of living. If they hadn't, most likely wouldn't have had to increase them. Yes, and football clubs did lose a good chunk of money during the COVID times. I just feel like, look, Spirit of Shankly have done some brilliant work, and especially around the whole Hicks and Gillette time. But the best way I can describe my feelings is this just doesn't feel like the right fight to pick. This one for me. Who thinks Arsenal won't drop points? Not me. I think they will. I don't get the defeatist attitude of people thinking that we'll drop points, but Man City and Arsenal are bound to win every game. It just allows negativity to creep in. If we're being really honest with ourselves, we don't know. I have no idea what the next 7 games have in store for us, for Man City or for Arsenal. Anything's possible. Arsenal looked more shaky against Bayern Munich last night. They didn't look like the same Arsenal that took Brighton apart so well. And in football, anything is possible. An early red card in a game to put Arsenal down to 10 men. They could be managing a game 1-0, seeing it out really well, and then concede a very late goal. It's football. It's you can't give up. You've just got to try and take care of what we can do, which is pick up our points. Leaving Carlow Town at 4 a.m. to head to Liverpool. Nice one, Whitehammer. Nice. Enjoy. I remember those early trips, mate. God, the red eyes and stuff as well. Yeah, enjoy it. It'll be a great night. Craig got deported. I absolutely 100% did not get deported. That's absolutely sensationalised nonsense. I didn't get deported in any way, shape or form from America, mate. I got refused entry at Dublin because of an incorrect visa. We should have had a performance visa and we had a different visa. So deported is absolute nonsense and lies. So I'd appreciate if you didn't go around saying Craig was deported from America, because it's just simply not true. I can go to America next week if I so wish. Jesus. And I wonder why some of these things come back and people come up with some crazy shit about me. You be careful what you're saying about someone, mate, because my reputation means a lot to me. Missed me a couple of times, but it's grand. Sorry, mate, there's lots of comments. I tried to get to as many as I can. Thoughts on Diaz to PSG and who to replace? Diaz to PSG, 2 ways to look at it. One, I don't understand why it would be appealing to him to leave Liverpool to go to PSG. We're a bigger club. So I don't get that. It's not Spain, which he's spoken about being his dream to go and live and play in Spain. So I would feel like it's a cash grab if he wants to go to PSG, because I'm sure they'll pay him higher wages than we would. So I don't understand the appeal of it at all, to be honest with you. What would I do to replace him? As I said before, I don't know if we naturally would have to replace another wide player. Maybe you need to bring in another number 10. It would be difficult to see Salah and Diaz leaving the one window. That would be a tough window. But if you look at it another way, it could be the potential of about £175 million given to the new manager to go shopping with. So I don't know. It's a tough one. Do I rate Anthony from United? No. Not as a human being, nor as a footballer. But I'm glad United got their pants pulled down on the price for him. What positions do you think we should invest in the summer? 2 centre-backs and maybe a left wing back to... See, I'd sell Costas and bring in another left wing back to compete with Andy Robertson. On the right hand side, I think we're okay over there with Conor Bradley and Trent as options. So maybe one more centre forward and 2 centre backs. But 2 centre backs would be the first thing on my shopping list. You cannot replace the work rate Diaz brings. Selling him would be silly. So let me phrase the question another way to you, Philip. What do you do with a winger when we don't play with wingers? How do you get that same work rate and effort out of Diaz in a system where we don't use wingers? That's kind of the point here that I'd be making. Unless you want to use him as a left wing back, you're not going to see the same benefit. So why have wingers at a club that doesn't play with wingers? It would be my argument. Diaz, Salah out, 2 centre-backs and number 10 in, said Whitehammer. All players are replaceable. We've proved that many times. Yes, of course. It sucks sometimes when a player leaves that we love, or a player that you have an official affinity for. Like for me, when Suarez left, I was heartbroken. Even though he didn't leave in the greatest of ways, on the greatest of terms, still loved them, still idolised them, and it still stung like hell when he left. If we could be more clinical, we wouldn't need Arsenal to drop points, just take chances. Well, technically, we don't need Arsenal to drop points. We need to make up 9 goals. So, yeah, we need to outscore Arsenal by 1.2 or 1.3 goals a game. But, look, if anybody thinks that there's going to be no points drop between now and the end of the season, I think you're just being too defeatist. I don't know if we win the league or not. We're certainly in a better position than Manchester City are right now. And lots of people are talking about City going to win the league. So, how do City win the league? Genuine question. How do City go and win the league? They can't win the league unless somebody drops points. And in their case, they'll need 2 teams to drop points. So loads of people are still making City favourites, but they can't be favourites unless somebody drops points. So, there will be points dropped. What's the Amorim news? No problem, mate. Let me go back over to you. So a couple of things have happened since we last spoke this afternoon. Pedro Sepulveda have been speaking and had an exclusive, I think, with Anfield Sector, where they said financial terms are almost agreed between Liverpool and Ruben Amorim. Don't know who the hell Ruben Amorz is. Ruben Amorim. Then LFC Transfer Room posted and they said Ruben Amorim has told Sporting President Federico Varandas about Liverpool's interest and said that they should now be looking for a replacement for him. So it looks like they're trying to say there that he's told Sporting that he wants to move on. We've ridden our luck all season. That's true. Absolutely, mate. We have not been at our best this year. I'll agree with you 100% on that. I think this season has been so impressive because, like you've said, we have ridden our luck at times. We have had lots of injuries, lots of twists and turns, some horrendous refereeing decisions, and yet we're still there. Only behind Arsenal on goal difference at the top of the league. That's a good thing. So yeah, it's been a very good season, but there are things we could have done better. But football seasons are always going to have twists and turns in them. So I would have taken this at the start of the season. If you would have said to me 7 games to go, you'd be behind the leaders on goal difference. Would you take it? I think I would have said yes. And I don't think the media has given anywhere near enough coverage to the very, very influential decisions that went against us in very, very big games. 3 massive games that at the time were against teams that were fighting for the league. Spurs away, shafted. Dodgy red cards, perfectly good goal ruled out. Absolutely shafted. Arsenal at home, Odegaard handball. Ridiculous. For the rest of my life, nobody will ever convince me that that wasn't a penalty and that the ref shouldn't have been sent to the monitor. And then Manchester City at home. Doku studs into the chest of McAllister, no penalty, and again referee not sent to the monitor. So those are in games that matter. In big games against our title contenders, and every single one of them, we've had a really, really, really obvious call go against us. Is that a coincidence? We'd be pretty unlucky if it was just a coincidence. And the fact that, again, it still doesn't get... It feels like if we win the league, it'll be in spite of all the stuff that's happening. It will be in spite of the refereeing decisions. I feel like at this point, we could have probably been 4 to 6 points clear at the top of the league. Why do people have a thing for signing Victor Gyökeres when we have Darwin already? I think it's because he's doing well at Sporting. They see Ruben Amorim coming in. They see what he did with Coventry, and maybe they think if we move on to wide players, perhaps another striker could give competition for Darwin. So, I mean, I can't speak for everybody there, obviously, but that will be my guess. Do you agree with this? You buy a nice young central defensive midfielder to compete with Endo if he's not the best and he has been this season. We have one in Stefan Bajcetic. So I don't feel that we have the need to go out and bring in another potential number 6. We have Endo, we have Bajcetic. We've got other players like McAllister who can fit in there in a pinch if we need one. Tyler Morton coming back from Hull. Okay, maybe he won't make the grade, fair enough, but I just think if Bajcetic can prove his fitness, I don't think we need to go out and bring in another one. Do you... No, done that one. Done that one. Neskisek said, there will probably be 2 teams this season that are going to have regrets and tight games with a lot of should-haves. We can be one of them, or we're talking about a great last season with Klopp. For me, and I said this all the way through the season, if we finish the season with just the League Cup, it's a massive disappointment, because that season where we finished with 2 domestic cups, we finished second in the league, and we lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid, that just felt like an anticlimax. To not have one of the 2 big ones at the end of the season, it was a good season, but it still felt like stuff got away from us. We don't have any more chances now with Klopp. This is it. It is now or never. So I want to see either a Premier League or a Europa League or both, being lifted by Klopp before he goes. Anything else, and it's going to feel like a massive letdown. What else we got? Craig, what's up with top of the league? I've said this so many times, dude. I understand that you might not have seen every stream. I get it. Adam obviously concentrated on doing his own stuff on Forever United TV, which meant it was just me that was left. The dynamic of the channel was lost, because the whole dynamic was kind of best of enemies vibe. And I just don't have the time to commit to it properly. And I find it very difficult to comment on non-Liverpool games, because I don't really give a shit about them. And I'm not the same person that I am when I watch Liverpool. I'm not as engaging. I'm not as entertaining, probably. So for now, it's just sitting there doing nothing, and we'll probably look to try and get another couple of presenters in over the summer and then see what the plan will be for next season. But for now, I just want to focus on here, and I don't have any spare time. What do you think the formation change would do for Trent and Bradley? Do you think they could play together? Yes, they could play together. I think the formation change to a 3-4-3 would be ideal for Conor Bradley. Absolutely perfect to utilise him in that position. It's like it's tailor-made for him. So, yeah, I think both of them could be played together, though, yeah. I do see a possibility for that. What happened to going to the Atalanta game tomorrow? Never once, ever, and I mean ever, said I was going to the Atalanta game. Never even floated the idea as a possibility. So, yeah, I don't know where you pulled that one out of, but it's just another case of somebody trying to say something about me that quite simply has never been through. I said I would go to the semi-final second leg, potentially, and I even made the point to say I was at Liverpool's first game in the Europa League under Jurgen Klopp against Ruben Kazan, and I'd like to be at his last game at Anfield in the Europa League, which would be the semi-final second leg. So again, you're wrong. Do you think Mo will get the send-off at Anfield or leave it no notice? I hope any of the boys who may be moving on in the summer gets the big send-off. And Mo absolutely deserves the big send-off. So yes, it would be nice to have some clarity about that situation so that he can get the send-off, if indeed he is going to move on, because he absolutely deserves every bit of love and adulation that comes his way. Um, the dogs wanted to come in from the garden barking. Oh, I get you. My dog's like that all the time. Craig, why don't you do a live event for the final? Have a venue and also live stream. So, how do you think a watch along looks like from a venue? Am I going to ask the venue? And I've thought about this from a technical perspective, which is why we haven't done it. Am I going to ask the venue to lower it down so I can do a watch along so nobody can hear what's going on in the game? Am I going to ask them not to play any music in the background so I don't get done for copyright infringement? And also, it's stressful trying to put on an event, run the event, and then do your own work. It's difficult, and I thought about it long and hard, and just came to the conclusion that I want to just stay here. I could have gone to the game. I was offered a ticket for the final. Could have gone, said no. And we came to the conclusion that we're going to do our own watch along and stuff. And if we got an invite from somebody who's already running an event that wanted us to come, let's say a 10:30 or 11, to do something for a little bit, then we'd consider that. But we decided not to do our own event because it's just a potential for a huge headache that we don't want, if you get me. Probably a long-winded answer there, but it's why we didn't do anything around and also the final. We haven't even got to the final yet, so there is all that. Like, imagine we went and booked a venue, put down a deposit, promote with the venue, promote with the idea, and Liverpool weren't in the final. You know, what do you do then? What's your thoughts on players like Jota and Trent coming back from injury? Brilliant. And hopefully they're fresh, and it gives Jurgen more options for make some little tweaks. Having Jota and Trent back is huge. Having Alisson back would be huge. And the more bodies we have available, the more options Jurgen has in these vital games. Quarterfinals, semi-finals of a Europa League, and then the last 7 games in the league. What's with all the negativity and sniping from all these folks? Can't we just enjoy our community, love of Liverpool, supporting each other? You're doing a magic job. So thank you for pointing that out, Michael, because I thought I was imagining that, because sometimes I just think, no, Craig, you're in a bad mood. But it does feel like people are sometimes putting in questions that are phrased and formatted in one way, but are really disingenuous. And you are right. Why can't I just come on, or you come on, and we just have fun and enjoy our community? There's lots of positive things that we tried to do, that I've tried to do, that people never want to point out. It's just people trying to take cheap shots and undermine me at times. And I can't do anything about it, but I don't get the mindset either. So I'm glad you pointed it out, because I thought I was imagining it. And, I tried to take everyone at face value and treat people the way they treat me and others. But does feel a bit weird at times that people are trying to set me up or something. Anthony Robinson to replace Costas. Sign me up for that. I would take that, Curtis. I would. I think he would be more suited to the role than Costas. It feels terrible saying that, by the way, because Costas seems like a lovely guy and certainly has done no wrong at the club. He's not stunk the gaff up or at. And I just don't ever see him becoming the guy on the left side. Are you going to do Euro streams? Unsure. Maybe. Unsure. Maybe do the ones that involve Liverpool players. So like when the Netherlands play, as an example. That might be the angle that we go with. Do you think Inacio could come if Amram's nearly done? I think of any sporting player, I think he's probably the one that's most likely. Because if you think back, we had a long-held interest in him before Ruben Amorim was even talked about. Or before we even knew Jurgen was leaving, we were linked to Inacio last summer. So, yes, I think there will be a good chance. We need that position to be filled as well. Left side centre-back is somebody we could certainly do with bringing in. So, yeah, I think there's every possibility. But I don't know anything of it, so I'm not trying to say I know it's going to happen. I just think I can understand where you're coming from. Atletico Madrid won, Dortmund won. How on earth have Atletico Madrid done that? How is that game 1-1 if it's 1-1? They were absolutely all over Dortmund when I was watching it. Any chance of a predicted 11 with the current squad for an Amorim team? Oh, now it's 2-1 Atletico. See, that makes sense. So Alisson of the current setup. Okay, Alisson, then a back three of Kanade, Van Dijk, Joe Gomez. Wing backs Connor Bradley and Andy Robertson. Central midfielders Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai. And then number 10s of our current team, Curtis Jones. No, actually, you know what? Endo and McAllister in midfield, then Szoboszlai and Jones in the number 10 roles, and Darwin as the striker. That would be my best guess at our current squad as a 3-4-3. Karen said, I can't understand why anybody would want to come on here and slag you off. You do a fantastic job. Some people are never happy unless they're making others unhappy. Yeah, and again, Karen, it's a very strange mindset, isn't it? You know, I like to try and leave a positive impression on somebody for a day, or try and make somebody smile, or I don't know. I just hope that those negative people in life find something that makes them happy and content and makes them feel a belonging. Because I've found it here with you guys, and it's enhanced my life dramatically on a personal level, you know. I feel like this is an extended family. I feel like we've built a community from the ground up for all of us, where it's okay to be vulnerable and happy and sad, and it's amazing. I love it. Ace and Tina, how are you, bro? He said, hello everyone, what did I miss? Just got back from teaching. Basically, the biggest part of the day, mate, is that Amorim has informed the sporting director that he would like to move and that he should probably start looking for another coach, and also that the deal to bring him to Liverpool is getting a bit closer, and there's a few things to be sorted out, but not a million. So that's probably where we're at. And on that, my friends, I'm going to say my goodnight to you all. Don't forget, tomorrow we will be live from 7 o'clock for the watch along. Match reaction coming up as well. Player ratings video. 2 shows on sale right now, Dublin and Belfast. Ticketmaster is your go-to there for those. Belfast show is the one that's moving quicker, so if you're thinking about that one, maybe don't wait in case it sells. And the Dublin one, hope to see you there as well. So look, much love. Nathan Carlson, thank you for the super sticker, bro. Very kind of you. Yeah, see you tomorrow. We've got work to do, and fingers crossed we can put a dent in that Europa League quarter-final tomorrow. Have a good one, my friends. Much love. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.